I moved to Jeevan Jyothi 1 year after the church was built, but I did come several times before the church was built, and I observed how crowded the situation was in the worship hall in the division office. Not only was the hall overfull, but even the children had no proper places for their Sabbath school classes. It was evident that something had to be done, and my dad was the one who saw that something was done. The model of the church called for a seven-sided church with 7 glass panels, one dedicated to each day of creation, from the creation of light to the establishment of the Sabbath. The major hurdle to having a church built was, of course, the finance, but the division was very supportive and paid a large amount towards the construction. Members were very generous. There is a list of donors, and starting from 1 lakh down to about 1,000, almost every member participated in the construction of the church. Another challenge that was totally unforeseen was that on the date of the dedication, while my dad, who was the church pastor in his retirement years, had just overlooked all of the arrangements that were made and making sure everything was ready for the dedication, driving home to Maranatha, he indicated a right turn into the campus when a truck misunderstood his signal and tried to overtake him and rammed into the side of his car, pushed his little Maruti car down the ditch and up and against the wall of the school, totaled the car completely. My dad was completely unhurt. People rushed, took him out of the car, sat him down on a chair. A crowd collected, and my brother and sister were coming from Bangalore. When they saw this crowd and recognized Dad's car, wondered if they were coming for a funeral rather than for a church dedication. But then they saw my dad completely unhurt. And the dedication service also had a Thanksgiving service attached to the program. The funds for the Sabbath school building next to the church were donated by alumni of Vincent Hill School and College, where my dad had his education, and led by Dr. Peter Heinel. The funds were adequate to build Sabbath school rooms and a church library. The church library had several computers with access to the internet, and also a little museum of pictures and memories of Vincent Hill School and College. And to enhance the memory aspect, the gate arch in front of the building was a replica of the gate arch that led to Vincent Hill School and College quite accurately. This church is very closely connected to my dad. My dad is the one who brought the division office from Pune to Hosur. The division office building and the construction of this church were projects that he envisioned. He happened to be the church pastor in retirement when the church was built and when the Sabbath school rooms were actually constructed. He invested a lot of his time and interest in the church. Every renovation that took place was with his permission. He came early for every service, made sure that everything was ready for a service to begin, from checking the lights and the doors to seeing that everything was in place. As things needed replacement, he collected funds and saw that the church was well maintained. Having invested so much of his interest in that church, I couldn't help but inherit some of that interest. And so the history of that church is something that I'm very closely interested in. Collection of photographs, writing of the history, keeping a record is something that is very close to my heart. The church Sabbath school building and the library were meant to cater to the young people. The internet access that was provided helped many who had no other access to the internet. The church programs catered to the young people. The choir has always been composed of almost exclusively young people. Young people have been very active in this church and its services and its outreach program. The young people take an active part in reaching out to the community during the days allotted for this. And it is with appreciation that we mention this, their participation in the life of the church and the community. We hope that it will always be this way, that the life of the Hosur Church will be its young people.